Okay, here we are, another one. FDM Printing. Will Splitter dethrone Luban? Who will win the STL splitting war? Who's going to win? This is going to be interesting. And it's STL, not STR. So let me go ahead and correct this real quick, because some of you are going to call me out on that. So I have to. There is STL. We're all good. For those of you who are just joining, I'm Steve, the retired hobby tech guy, American expat living here in Korea, doing 3D printing, miniature painting, figures, stuff like that. And so when I started getting interested in possibly doing a large 3D print, I was faced with a problem. And that was, how do I cut this thing up? George pops in, says howdy. Hello, George. How's it going? This is going to be an interesting topic in regards to 3D printing, because 3D printing with FDM printers, in other words, you have like a spool of plastic and it goes into a hot end, it heats it up, it melts the plastic, and then it lays out I guess a layer of plastic, and then it cools, and then it does another layer, and usually the standard layer height is what, 0.4, something like that, 0.16. You can have some different layer heights, and you can make some pretty cool 3D models. Hobby figures, I do figures. If you can look back here, you can see the Hulk back there, right there. That is kind of a larger figure. But if you're going to go big, and I'm talking about go big or go home, like I'm talking life-size big, then how do you print something out that big on a build plate, which is obviously much smaller? Well, you're going to have, just like eating an elephant, what you're going to have to do is one piece at a time. And so with that, if you have a large model, you're going to have to cut that up. And yeah, there's ways that you can do it in your slicing program. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll look at two programs. We'll look at Luban, and then we'll look at the newcomer, the challenger to Luban, the new boy on the street, and we'll see how that's going to fare. And basically, they kind of do the same thing. Luban's been around for a lot longer, but Splitter is looking pretty good. If you want to find out more information, those links are in the description box down below. I have no affiliation with either of those, so it's just me looking at it, seeing what I want to do with doing large prints eventually. And you need these tools. And here's the reason I say this. Let's go ahead and we'll just go to the desktop. And here is my Creality K2 Plus, which is a 350 by 350 build area, which is, yeah, it's a pretty good size plate. And for something like this, which we actually do have this print, it's approximately, with the stand and everything, you're looking at about maybe 11, 12 inches tall. So it's a fairly good size print. But if I wanted to make this life size, that's where we come into problems. So if you have your slicer, and I'm using the Creality print, and we can go up here, and we see that we already scaled this up. This is actually a 32 millimeter, I think, file. And let's take this up to, I don't know, let's say 2000%. Scale it up on all axes, and there is our problem. So, and I don't even know if that is, how tall that is. Let's take a look at this. Let's go ahead and measure this, and we'll go from the bottom, basically from the sole of his foot to the top there. That's approximately 746 millimeters. So we're not even at a meter. So that's pretty big. So let's, this could get huge. Let's go up to 4,000%, and we'll see how that goes. So now we're starting to get into, and how big is this baby? Good Lord, this is going to be interesting. So let's go to the top of his head to the foot there, and it's 1,456. So it's basically almost 1.5 meters. So a meter is about 3 feet. So it's about 4.5, whatever it is. And you look at the build plate, and the build plate is really small. So how are you going to get this and print this? Well, there's a couple of things that you could end up doing, and most slicing programs have a slicer with them. So if we go up the top here, and we can see here, we can hit cut. And with this cut feature, what we can end up doing is going through, and we could cut this into some manageable parts. But like, for example, if we were going to do something like this, holy crow. Yeah, I mean, just now let's put this onto the build plate, and we can kind of look at the, so yeah, the boot will fit on there. And we can kind of see the top where you have the dark shade and then the lighter shade on there. And the lighter shade is what will actually fit within the build area of the K2 Plus, which is 350 cube. So if we go through and we slice this thing up, this is going to be crazy, because then we can go through and let's just take it down to here. We'll take it down below that shaded area. And what we can end up doing is a planar cut. We'll add some connectors. So let's just go ahead and we'll just do, we'll do some dowels. We'll do about, I don't know, 10 millimeters. We'll do that, and we could go on here and we could add some connectors on here, you know, so that way we could, you know, line this thing up and it'll print however many connectors. We confirm it, and then we could go through and we perform the cut, and the object is too large, so you want to scale it down. I'm going to say no. And there, what we end up doing, if we can double click off of that, we can click and we can move, and now we've got a more manageable piece, but we'll still have to cut this because we've got both feet now. And so what we'd have to do is choose the slicer, and we'll kind of put it like this, and we'll just perform the cut. And now we've got the different, so we've got that one. We could add another plate, and then we could add the foot, and then what we could end up is we could rotate that around to something like so. And then we could go through and put the foot on there. And so then we'd have to go through and do these planar cuts over and over again. So basically what we're going to end up doing is getting to a point of where, it's going to be very problematic, because going through and trying to get the right size and everything, you can do this, but it's going to be real time intensive. So let's say we do another one here. We're going to pick this, and then we're going to cut this again, and we'll bring this down. But, you know, we can see some problems with the axe that we have right there if we do a cut like that. And it's just kind of problematic. You know, we're going to end up, let's say we're going to do, let's move this up a little bit more and try to, I don't know, try there. We'll see what happens. So that's going to make that cut. We'll just perform the cut. We're not going to do anything crazy. And let's go back. And again, we'd have to go through and do cuts, individual cuts, to separate all these different pieces from each other. So in other words, what it's going to end up, it's going to be a pain in the ass. It's really what it's going to, I mean, you can do it. You would think, George pops up and he says, that would take over a month to do. I know, right? It would take a long time. And I actually started doing this, and it gets really frustrating. It's doable, and you have the planar cut on slicing programs, which is included in most slicers, which is fine. But for such big prints, this is going to be problematic. And then if you want to rescale everything, you have to go through, rescale everything, make sure it fits your plate. If it doesn't, you're going to have to go back. You know, there's just so many different variables involved. You can do it, but it's going to be a pain in the butt, is what it comes down to. So with that being said, you could do something like that, but that's not what we're going to do. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to go through, and let me clean up all of this stuff. And we'll just kind of clean all that up, and because we might come back to this. And we're going to talk about these two programs that end up are quite the interesting program. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to get into Luban. Luban is a product, and we're going to take a look at it here, that you can make some big files, some big STL files. You can print them up, and obviously, like with the Hulk there, there's no way you could print that on a Creality K2 Plus or a Bamboo or anything like that. You know, it's just too big. So you're going to need a program that will make it easier to slice and cut everything up on this thing and put it into more manageable pieces according to the build area of your machine, with connectors and identification marks of, hey, this piece A goes on to piece B, and they connect together until you can build the enormity of the Hulk or whatever it is that you're printing. This is a pretty good program. It is, it's pretty good. And matter of fact, it ends up, let me see. So we have Luban here, and boom. So basically, there it is. You know, we've got Luban, and what we can end up doing is we could enter in, let's say, let's go back to Creality saved files, and we will go to Ivor, the 11-inch dude that we got here. We're going to go ahead and open that up. And what this will end up doing, hopefully it'll open up. We'll see what happens. And it might just take STL files. I'm not sure of the format. File, open. See, it was supposed to be a 32 millimeter. So let's just do, and it doesn't have the full thing. Oh, well, maybe it does. Let's try opening that and see if it does the STL. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Won't do a 3MF file. So anyway, what we end up having here is Ivor, and what we can end up doing is going through, and we can set like our printer. We can start doing the, and it's been so long. Let's see, data import, multi-view sequence, batch, load, rotate, no, mesh, object, split. I forgot how to do this, holy crow. Slicer, no, I don't think it's the slicer. No, I don't want to do that. Watch it try to auto print. That's what, yeah, that would take a little bit of time. And it has been so long since I've done this. Hollow imprint, repair. And as you can see, the program is there. It's just not really user friendly-ish. It's not intuitive. Let's just put it that way. It's not intuitive. And so, let's see, file, now mesh, object. We don't want to rescale. Let's see, what can we end up doing here? So anyway, man, seriously. Services, file, assemble, data, create, multi-view sequence. Maybe that's it? No. File, batch, export, edit. Oh, good Lord, I can't even remember how to do it. And again, it's like cut. I think that's it. Maybe it's cut after changing value in text value. Okay. Okay, whatever. We'll try that. And there's where we can end up our modular cut, as we can see on this left-hand side, and we can see our 3D printer is 320 cubed, which is what I was using before. I mean, the K2 Plus does 350 cubed, but, and then we have our little thing here. So that is the size of our build area. But we want it bigger. Connectors, seriously, really? Create import, batch, file, object, scale. Let me see if we can find scale. SCALE. That's not doing me any good. Clip float mesh hole repair. Seriously, object explode, select, draw. Maybe I got to click it. I don't know. So anyway, it'll go through. I mean, this is just not intuitive at all. But so let's just go ahead and close this out. Seriously, we'll just close this out. Yeah. So anyway, Luban is this program that you can use. And I had to go back through YouTube to find out how to use it to scale up. And again, it's got like the 1980s user interface. It's just not user friendly, in my opinion. And it's got a bunch of other stuff, you know, and it's got some other things, lithophanes and whatever. But we're just talking about taking files that are really, really big, cutting them up into smaller pieces so that you can print them on your printer. Well, it ends up that there are other companies or another company that is doing the same thing, and it might dethrone Luban. Yeah, and one of the big things for me, being as old as I am, 59, price comes into play. Now, for those of you who are watching, you know that I hate subscription fees. So let's take a look at the subscription fee. So we have Luban and the license. There it is, blah, blah, blah. You can get a 1-month license, full access for 30 days. So in other words, you have a trial function that you could end up doing. You have a 1-month license for 30 days. You can do a 1-year license to have access to the program, and then a permanent lifetime license. Hold on to your hats because this is going to get expensive. USB license on Windows or Mac. Permanent license and USB license do not require internet connection when running Luban, while a timed license does. So we've got a little bit of a problem here. You don't really get the program if it's not on the lifetime license. So let's take a look at the prices here. For 1 month, it's $25. For 1 year, it's $125. For a permanent lifetime license, $625, big ones. That's for Luban. Seriously, really? I mean, I'm a fan of, you know, paying a bit more to get a lifetime license. I've done it on a number of programs, but the subscription fee, $25 a month, really? That seems a bit high. And then $125 a year, unless you're doing this as like a side gig, or you just, you know, for your own fun, you're printing out large prints, it can get pretty expensive. And if I was going to do that, obviously, I would go for the permanent license, but that's still 625 bones. Holy crow. I know. It's, you know, like George says, it's just like, holy Moses, or whatever religious figure you want to throw in the mix. Santa Claus, holy Claus. It's just crazy. But they have this other program called Split3r, and they were actually, they had the Kickstarter thing go on, and this is what they end up doing. So they did a Kickstarter, they had like 2,500 backers and all this, and it does basically the same thing. So we can go through here, reinventing large-scale printing. Again, it cuts everything down into pieces that we end up seeing there. And the screen looks a little bit more intuitive. Definitely an update from the 1970s or 80s type of user interface of Luban. And so let's take a look and we'll see how this goes. So let's go ahead and we'll...
What if printing large parts finally became accessible to everyone? Split3r is the software that makes it possible. Drag and drop your 3D file.
Okay.
Select your printer model.
So you select your printer.
Check Split3r parameters.
Split3r. Coaxial eye, clearance.
Pre-split the model.
Pre-split model. Kind of show you what you got there.
Adjust the cut planes as needed.
Ooh.
Press 1 or 2 keys for move X planes.
That is nice.
Press 3 or 4 keys for move Y planes.
Okay, I like that. Being able to move your cuts.
Press 5 or 6 keys for move Z-planes.
Okay, not bad.
When ready, click on Split. Name your project.
Alrighty.
Let Split3r compute. This takes a few minutes. When done, press E to explode the model.
Ooh.
Inspect cut part in exploded view.
Okay, the connectors are kind of wild because it makes all those
Tenon
holes.
sockets are placed on cut faces.
Tenon sockets. Huh.
Each part is automatically numbered.
Okay, that's good.
All split files are saved in the output folder.
Right. Kind of.
Simply drag and drop in your favorite slicer.
Huh.
And now, let's print and look at the result.
Okay. That's a lot of connectors on there. Split3r. Split3r. That's what we have. Split3r. Handles massive models, tested on huge files up to 250 meg, which is nice. Pre-splitting, splitting engine, adjustable cut placement, which is nice. On a reasonably powered PC, a complex car front bumper 1:1 scale can be split in 15 minutes. The connectors, though, that's kind of an odd little connector thing that we got going on there. That's very different than Luban. So because you have these, you got so many of these connectors, I wonder if there's a way that you can minimize the number of connectors, because usually with 3D printing, if you split something, kind of like what we ended up seeing with the slicer in Quality Print, you can put the number of connectors that you want there. So you would minimize the amount of extra material to do that. This, it looks like, boom, there it is. And I'm hoping that there's a way that you can increase or decrease the amount of connectors that they have on there, which is some really tenon connectors. That is really a different type of connector there. Type of tenons. Female, male, male and female, female, male, female. Templates, custom, clearance XY, your clearance Z. Interesting. So let's see if we can get into taking a closer look at this. Oh, no, it won't let me do it. Dang it, dang it, dang it. So anyway, yeah, the interface looks a lot better than Luban, that's for sure. It's definitely a big upgrade. The tenon connectors, I don't know if I'm a big fan of that. I mean, just because I had that experience with Luban, and I had bought Luban for a couple months or whatever, and split up some things, and it's like, but still $25 a month. The connectors could be a print failure point. It could be. But those tenon connectors, it can be female, female, and then you print just like a pyramid or whatever square that you could put those things together. So there's that, I think there is, or you could do custom ones that you can make. I'm just worried about the quantity of those holes and connectors. If it's male and female, you're going to use more material when really you might not need to do that. So I'm assuming here that you can increase or decrease the amount of those holes or those tenon connectors, male and female parts. Yeah, it says, oh, here it is. Here it is. So when it talks about over here on this side here, customized number of tenons per face. So you don't need to insert tenons onto every female pyramid, just a few placed ones, as they mainly serve to recenter and align the two parts. With the latest updates, splitter, I'm going to say splitter, now lets you choose exactly how many tenons align pins on to place on each face with just 4 tenons of fully covered edge. Okay, that's good. Okay, crisis averted on that. Oh yeah, that's much better. I like that. So you can choose exactly how many you want. So if you want all of those, you could do that, but that would just be a waste of filament. And you could do with just 4 for a fully covered edge. So we could do 1 per corner, and then you could add more. By default, Splitter distributes a selected number of tenons evenly as far apart as possible, ensuring a perfect recentering of the parts during assembly without requiring a tenon in every socket. This not only simplifies the printing process, but also reduces print time and material. Okay, so that's good. That's good. And then it has the automatic engraved part marking. Large enough parts are engraved with a recessed mark, indicating their position for the assembly. Okay, so yeah, you gotta have, otherwise it's just gonna be a giant puzzle. George says, I think I'll stick to the dovetail setting. I like the strength of it. Yeah, that would be something, is that if Luban and or the splitter program would have that as an option as well, because those are some pretty strong connections. And it's a great way to connect, especially if you're doing large prints. It's really a good way to go. It's really, really powerful. So especially on larger prints, I think the dovetail, you're onto something there. So yeah, pretty interesting as we go through this. So it'll mark all those things with identification. Markings are placed on each flat face of each cut. Advanced part alignment and assembly management. So that's that little pyramidal tenon shape optimized for support-free printing. So that's good. Excuse me. Hollow pyramids on both sides plus independently printed tenons. Okay, so we can see that there. So we got the female edge in gray. We've got this female on the blue, and then the reddish color is going to be your tenon that you could print separately, that you don't need supports. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That looks good. Male pyramids on the positive cut side, female pyramids on the negative side, so we could do something like that. And I guess the angle is such that you're not going to need supports, so that's interesting. It says this method may not work for all parts and can limit ability on print on every surface of highly complex geometries. So, okay, custom tenons, you can make your own custom ones. I don't know if you want to do that. I just want something to throw in there and boom. So yeah, kind of an interesting little program. And with this, this was on their Kickstarter when they kicked this thing out. But here is a more up-to-date. This was put out about 2 months ago. And so let's take a look and listen to this.
What if printing large parts finally became accessible to everyone? Split3r is the software that makes it possible. Drag and drop your 3D file.
Oh, it's just the same thing that we looked at. Let's see if we can get a...
Inspect cut part in exploded view. Tenon sockets are placed on cut faces.
We could reduce those down.
Automatically numbered. Drag and drop in your favorite slicer.
Okay, that's where we ended up. So it's basically that right there. So yeah, another option to Luban, but here's where I think Splitter or Splitter, whatever they end up saying, it ends up, the website that we have for that is right here. And boom. Automatically split your 3D files, prepare, pre-split, split, explode, and automatic splitting, part management, labeling, the whole 9 yards, 4 modes, 10 times faster preparation, 158 plus printer preset, multi-core processing. George ends up saying that he likes the numbers on each part, which Luban also does as well. So it's good that both of them are doing that. So you prepare, you can set your split, pick profile, printer profile, and part size limits. Ah, okay. So you can set the build area of your printer and put that in there. So they got profiles for that. And then you could just split and go. Wow. So there, Splitter Basic is 60 pounds. Is that what that is? Splitter add-on, 35. If we buy it online now, and this, let's see what it comes up to. And it's in this weird thing. So, but we got some options here. We got the basic plus add-on. Technical support, we don't need that. Splitter Basic is 60. I'm assuming those are, so we're looking at 95. Is that 95 pounds? I don't know what that is. What currency is that? Well, we're in English, so we got that. What is, let's see, what does that end up being? Search Google for this. And we don't, it's a euro, 95 euros to United States dollars. So we're looking at $110. Okay. So for the full splitter, the basic plus the add-on, you're looking at $110 for a pay one price thing. So yeah. Yeah, Big's Android. Hey, welcome to the show. $110. I should have read the comments. Yeah, 110 USD, which is a hell of a lot nicer than the Luban for a lifetime license, which is $625. So while I've used Luban, and just kind of a review of that right there, you can either do a monthly subscription for $25 a month USD or $125 a year, or the permanent license for $625. Good Lord, that is insane. You could get the splitter for 95 euros, which is $110, which is way better as far as price. So yeah, payday's right around the corner. I guess I'm gonna be looking at getting a splitter, or whatever they end up, however they end up calling that. But that is definitely something that is way more affordable. And yeah, that just seems like the bomb. And again, let's take a look at the what it offers here. So let's go ahead and we'll zoom in here. So you can get Splitter Basic. Oh, look at that. Lifetime license for 60 euros, which is, I'm going to say about half, around half of 110, somewhere around there. Splitting large files, control of cut placement and part organization, standard and custom tenons, workflow, repair and scale parts. That is something important because there's a number of times that I brought parts into Creality Print that using with the Mac, it wasn't able to repair parts, so I had to use another program. If you have it on Windows, it can repair it sometimes. So this has a repair and scale function with it, which is nice. Work zone management with results folder, pre-split mode with ghost view, multi-threading split, adjustable, explode mode, exports ready for modern slicer, Prusa, Orca, Bamboo, etc. Lifetime license. Look at that. Key point. Lifetime license. Automatic web activation. Grace period of activation encounters an issue. Requires an internet connection to operate. Electronic delivery. In other words, you download it. Currently, it's only Windows. As of December 2025 release, Linux and Mac will be for the first quarter of 2026. They'll work interchangeably on Windows, Linux, and Mac. Oh, nice. Standard technical support by email for 6 months. Professional tech support, pay as you go. That shouldn't be like a thing. And we get some other add-ons on here. Ferrithus pops in and says, hello. Hey, we're checking out some splitting programs. We had like Luban, which a lifetime license is $625 for a lifetime license. Yearly subscription fee is $125. It's required that you hook up to the internet. A monthly fee, subscription fee of $25 a month. And then the splitter program is doing the same stuff, but it's like $110 for a lifetime license. Actually, as we just saw in here, the splitter basic is a lifetime license for 60 euros, which is, I don't know, what, 55 bucks, 50 bucks, something like that. And yeah, it's going to be Windows soon. And then we have add-ons. So you need a basic license, a lifetime license, and then you can do this add-on. Productivity tools that extend the basic workflow, advanced configuration and export options, auto shell function to automatically hollow models to save time and material for large or life-size prints. They're going to plan features, step, and 3MF import, which is good because STL files they're Barney Basic, and the step and the 3MF files really give you more geometry. It's really a more powerful way to not only save your files, but edit your files and do all this kind of stuff. Pre-separation tools, smart selection and exact geometry for your tenons and sockets, lifetime license, no subscription, automatic web, blah, blah, blah. Requires a valid basic license. So yeah, or you can get the splitter full for $95. Everything in the splitter basic plus all the add-ons. And add-on features will be delivered progressively. So, that's good. So that is not bad at all. So yeah, it looks pretty good. I mean, fair to say, interesting. Never looked into that before. I always split my own models in the slicer. Took a while though. Yeah, and we kind of went into Creality Print. We blew up a Viking, so that was like 1.5 meters tall, and you can do it, you can slice it, and it was like a pain in the butt, but you don't have the flexibility that you have with like Luban or the splitter program. And like I said, this one ended up, they did their Kickstarter, which was October 29th, 2025 is when it was last updated. So we've got that. And so it looks pretty good. That would be interesting. So just if we look at these two programs, Luban and Splitter or Splitter, whatever they end up calling it, those two programs, Luban for a lifetime license, you're going to pay $625. Or you can do a monthly subscription fee of $25 a month or a yearly subscription fee of $125 per month. With the Splitter program, wow, that is pretty good. You can get the basic program for Splitter lifetime license for 60 euros, which I'm going to say is about $55, $55. And the full release is going to be in December of 2025. So the beta version is available after November 10th for non-Kickstarter backers, which is kind of cool. And then the full one will come out. But it's a lifetime license. 60 euros, 55 bucks. I mean, that's entirely doable. But if you go for the add-on to that, that's another 35 euros, and you can get the full meal deal Splitter full for 95 pounds, and that is, or not pounds, but euros, that is a lifetime license. So it's somewhere between $110, $100, something like that. That is pretty good. Wow. And this came from France. Okay, so we're doing some French stuff here. So it ends up, I'm all about convenience. I'll save money to some degree, and with Luban, it was like, I want to do some big prints. I want to do a big Hulk. I was thinking about doing the big, we got the Hulk back there, and doing that about 5 feet tall for the Hulk, and then like another, it would be almost another foot for the base, and if you can take a look at that, I mean, that's kind of this is like 15 inches high. But you could imagine this, you know, this is the base, and you could imagine the Hulk being like 6 feet tall. I mean, that would be insane. So this is, I really love the Hulk. He's a really cool character. But this would be insane to print something like this 5 or 6 feet tall. And yeah, you could slice it up on your own. And if you had like a build area of 256 cubed, yeah, you're going to be cutting the foot up into multiple parts. And that would be time intensive in and of itself. So that would be a little insane. And then, oh, here's the other one. Here is the Ivor, the Viking. And this was a 32 millimeter. And this is like 11 inches. So he did this one. He's all primed up, ready to paint and everything. But could you imagine doing something like this at, you know, 5.5 feet, 5 feet 6 inches, 6 foot tall? This would be awesome. But cutting this up with a regular slicer, you're going to do a planer cut. And so then you're going to have to separate the feet like we showed. And then when you start getting into these areas here, you're going to have all kinds of crazy planer cuts, and that's going to be really time intensive. So yeah, and that is going to be a little crazy on that. Good, put that back there. So it's doable. You have slicers and planer cuts on your slicing programs like Ferrith has brought up. I don't know if I'd want to spend that much time cutting and slicing for something that huge. I like the fact that, yeah, you can scale things up, you know, like we did the little Viking dude on Creality Print. We went up to like, what, 4,000. So it was like a 1.5 meters high. And then you look at the build area, the K2 Plus, it's still a lot of stuff that you have to do. And while I could do that, I like the convenience of Luban. I actually bought a license for Luban, 1 month subscription for that. But again, the Luban is like a 1970s, 1980s. I mean, look at that. This is it right here. That is the interface of Luban. Right there. Seriously, we're going back to the 70s as far as user interface. It is just absolutely crazy. So, you know, when we look at stuff like that, the splitter program looks a hell of a lot better when we take a look at that stuff, because it's just so much nicer. You know, let's go back and take a look on the, you know, I mean, look at that. So if we zoom in here, you got file, project, prepare, split, help. You've got icons. It looks like it's in a logical sequence. You can set the size, you know, your printer, your filament, whether it's a filament printer or a resin printer. They've got different profiles, plain step, type of tenons, female, female, male, female, types, custom, clearance, all of that stuff. So it's really I think a more intuitive program than Luban. Luban also has a lot of other stuff on their website when you take a look at Luban, but just for slicing up a large file in and of itself, yeah, $100. I could go for that compared to the $625 for Luban. But again, if that's all you're going to do, I don't know. It's going to be kind of interesting. Let's see. We got some comments here. Ferrithus talks about that. He does his own models and takes a while. Blue Moon. Hey. Hi. My husband and myself like to watch your retirement life in Korea. Oh, well, thank you. We're having a good time here. We enjoy it. What am I doing? Ferrithus pops in, and I just kind of, something's going wrong with my little thing here. Biggest I printed was 5 feet tall. It was slim enough that, get back up there. Then I could slice it into 4 pieces. For the figures, I would probably slice the arms and legs off and make a torso as big as I can. Yeah, divide and conquer, so each limb would be cut, and then, cut at the waist, and then cut at the, the legs where the thighs meet up to the crotch area, cut that, and then you could start cutting and slicing to your heart's content and doing dowels or whatever it is you want to end up doing. It's entirely doable. And I practiced that with the Hulk and on Creality Print, and it is quite an interesting project, to say the least. Kind of time intensive, so that's when I got interested in Luban, and I was like, wow, this is really cool, and then the price was not really cool. So, but yeah, it's kind of it's a new program that's out. Again, they had their Kickstarter. They had about 2,501 backers, which is pretty good. That's a respectable number for a program. And the price shows that for the lifetime license, it might be worth getting the lifetime license, locking that in, and then whatever they do in the future, you're covered. Kind of like I have some lifetime licenses for programs that I bought for my Mac that now you can't get lifetime licenses. They're all subscriptions. So I'm grandfathered into, those programs, and it's awesome because I don't have to pay that stupid subscription fee. Biggs Android says, I am stuck between these two programs. Now, Luban was the only one I knew of until tonight, so I'll be subscribing to see how it works out for you. I just got my first 3D printer, P2S. Oh, really? Cool. Congratulations. The P2S, from the reviews I've seen on that, look really, really good. So you got to keep me updated. Keep us updated on the P2S because that looks like a really good printer. Bamboo, from what I've seen, has really good quality on their prints and everything. Not so much on the security side of the house. They can have their own locked-in ecosystem, but majority of people don't care. They want to print some cool stuff, and Bamboo does a good job of that. So yeah, that P2S, congrats, dude. That's awesome. Fertha says, on large figures, I also learned to create cavities in the legs for plaster to give it weight and prevent toppling. Really? Oh, interesting. Neat. You need to get on the ball and start making some videos there, guy. Because I would definitely subscribe to your channel, as if you don't have enough to do already. But yeah, that's interesting. Cool. Huh. That the Hulk that I have, again, I wanted to do the big Hulk. That's my favorite Marvel character. But that Ivor Viking dude, I'm really, really liking that. So I don't know. It's going to be a toss-up between the Hulk or the Viking, Ivor the Viking. So, but definitely, I don't know. This splitter program looks pretty good. But there's other things that it ends up with the Luban that comes along with it. And I'm not sure exactly what else comes with it. So let's take a look at this. Yeah, there's a big Hulk for you. Holy crow. That is insane. Ferretha says, hello, thanks. That's why I did the 5-foot Buddha statue. Without the plaster, it was very easy to knock over. Oh yeah, I bet. So that's some U-bend. That's insanely big. Good Lord, that is huge. I'm assuming he's like 5'5"-ish. So that is a huge print there. So design software can automatically generate models in various forms such as lithophane, stack, hash, plate, relief, module, wireframe, 3D printed, laser cutting, CNC milling. Main feature, you can do eyeglasses based on a template image, lithophanes. So it's not apples to apples when we're talking about Luban versus Splitter, because Splitter basically only does the splitting up of large files. large models into smaller printable files. With this, you can turn any 2D photo into a 3D printed photo with the lithophanes that they have there. So, you're getting more with Luban. PhotoMagic, turn a photo into a 3D box. Cell, turn a photo into a cell structure. Cookie cutter things. Flexes, you can make your own flexes with it. Layering into a multi-layered object. Lenticule, merge two photos visible from different angles into one subject. Oh, okay, that might be pretty cool. Morphing two photos or two text strings into a 3D model. Okay, that would be cool. Painting, turn a photo into a painting of colored layers. A pillar, turn a photo into a set of pillars that can be 3D printed or laser cut. Puzzle, turn a photo into a puzzle. Wire, all that stuff. So what we end up seeing with Luban, I mean, you're getting a lot for your money, but in all honesty, I don't know if I would do all of this. I think I would, for me personally, of course, I'm not selling anything or anything like that. I like the lenticule there. I like the morphing, the two things that would be there. That looks kind of cool. Probably none of that. Maybe a lithophane or two. But mainly what I would end up doing is using it to, cut large models, life-size models, huge models into smaller printable pieces, export them so you can have different plates, you can put them together and boom, you got your huge model there. So for me personally, I don't think Luban is worth the lifetime license of $625. Holy crow, lifetime license. If you look at a yearly license, it's $125 a year. So if you're going to be doing 3D printing and some of this other stuff, and that's going to be your main hobby or your side gig or what you're doing to make some extra money, or you're just a hardcore hobbyist, maybe the $625 is worth the lifetime license. I don't know. For me, I'm not going to be doing a lot of that stuff. I just want a program that will cut the big thing into smaller things, and I print them on my printer, and then I put them together, like make it back into a big thing. So with that being said, if we're just doing that comparison, the splitter looks like a good deal to me. That looks like a good deal. And so payday's right around the corner, so I'm going to end up doing that. Faritha says, I would probably start with a yearly first, and if I really like the program and use it enough, I'd upgrade. Yeah, that's kind of what, try it before you buy it. But yeah, monthly subscription fees are getting way out of hand, in my opinion. It's just, I don't know. I long for the old days, Your grandpa sitting on his rocker. I remember the old days when you could buy programs. Okay, Grandpa, time to go back into the home, Who does that anymore? Yeah, everything's subscription these days. So, like in the past, what I've done with old programs that I got a lifetime license for, I still have that lifetime license, and now some of those programs, well, most of the programs are all subscription. You can't buy a lifetime license. So I'm grandfathered into those things, and thankfully those programs still work. So the splitter thing, they're just starting out. They just finished their Kickstarter. They're going to do the full delivery of their splitter program come December. So they have the beta released right now, so that's kind of cool. And they're going to keep updating that stuff. So I'm thinking if I lock into this at the low price of $100, whatever, 95 euros or whatever it ends up being, like $110 and get the lifetime license, I'm in like Flint. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Nefertimur says, greetings, Steve. It is a pleasure to reconnect. Yes, as always. The subject matter you presented is truly remarkable, and I'm eager to delve deeper into the concept of 3D printing. Yeah, me too. There's just so much to learn and so much cool stuff. And try to do it on the cheap because I do have an allowance. So even though I'm retired, I have my allowance, and Sometimes I go over on my allowance and then I get talked to. So, does anybody else relate to that? Anybody? Yeah. It happens. Oh well. But with something like this, with the splitter program, I think that would be a really good thing. Let me see if I can find the where was it? Oh, there it is. So we got that. No, that's not it. Uploads, files, Luban. No, that's not it. Because I did some big files. No, that's that. No, there's dolphins. Let's uploads, bottle dry brush, blah, 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 blah. Downloads, no, it's not it. Not documents. Where? Seriously. Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find where and I can't find it. Seriously. I had the big Hulk cut down in Luban. I don't know, let's look for Hulk. Okay. Luban Hulk cuts. So here's, let's take a look. So there was the base for the Hulk on Luban. And this was like having like a 5'6" Hulk, and as you can see, it would be 7.29 kilograms. Printing would be a crazy amount of time. Printing would be 810 hours. Assembly is 9 minutes. Total time would be 810 hours, and that's just for the base. That's just for the base. Holy crow. That is crazy. And somewhere I've got the files. I can't remember. Assembly sequence. Now. Yeah. Hulk diorama. Luban Hulk cuts. I don't know if I don't have that. I'm looking around trying to find it. I can't find it. But yeah, the Luban, again, for the amount of money that you're spending for a 1970s, 1980s user interface on there, it just doesn't fill me with a bunch of joy. You think for something that you're paying $25 a month, $125 a year, or a $625 lifetime license, that you would get a user interface that is like at least from the 2000s, early 2000s. That would be nice. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Neverton says, I will allocate a portion of my investments to support my personal interests and hobbies. Yeah, same here. We were kind of adjusting, and so that'll keep me in my lifestyle that I'm accompanied to when it comes to hobbies and keeping myself busy. Because if I'm staying busy doing my hobbies, what's the old saying? The idle hands are the devil's workshop. So I gotta keep my hands busy. So yeah, the allowance is a good thing. I bet you could speed that up by quite a bit with infill and wall settings. Yeah, you can. That was just kind of initial, and I can't even remember what those settings. No, that wasn't it. Let me go back and see what that was. Hex, Doom, Borderlands, Coffee, Maps, Dragons, Bookends, Ivor, Hulk Diorama. Maybe was it under there? Hulk Cuts, there it was. And no, that wasn't into the, that was just the Luban itself. So, and obviously something like that, I'd probably do 4 walls on that. So that way we get some, but where is that at? Book Nook, Star Wars, blah, 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 paint rack, Chaplin's helmet. FDM, honeycomb feature, no, that's not it. Large snow speeder, no, that's not it. I saved it somewhere, and of course now I can't find it. Nefertimur says, I also harbor a strong aversion to subscription services. Yeah, I know, it's just like, seriously. So, let me see, what is some other big stuff that I have that I cut up? Borderlands, no. Oh, it was the, was it that one? Nope, that's not it. Verith says, I remember it has been amazing to print big. Just really looks incredible. Yeah, it was being able to do stuff like that. And I'm really looking forward to doing that. Doing a real big print and, you know, knock that off of my bucket list. That looks just, it's just so cool. So cool. Let me see if I can find this. Shelf, paint, no. Maybe it's under this. With the Doomslayer. Full dudes goes, heavy cannon, maybe that's it. 5 plates. No, I didn't use, I didn't use the, I didn't use Luban to cut that big rifle down, so. Ferritha says, okay, Steve, time for bed, early morning gym for me. I will definitely be following your huge print phase. Yes, I remember it has been amazing to print big. It looks really incredible. Have I ever sent you the Buddha I made? I'm not sure if you did. You might have. Let me see. Let me check. And we'll switch over to this and that. And we'll search for B-H-U-D-D-A. Buddha. Nope. B-U-D-A. Or however you spell that. B-U-D-D-H-A. B-U-D-D-H-A. Nope, I don't have anything that comes out as Buddha. So, I don't think you did. But if you do, send it to me. I'd like to take a look at that. I think that'd be pretty cool. And when you did your print, how many walls did you do on that big Buddha? Did you have like 4 or 5 walls? And what was the percentage of infill, and what infill did you use? I'd be kind of interested in looking at that, because I've got some information of some people that do some larger prints. And let me see, a guy who does life-size prints, and he does scaling convert, reality tips plus, big Hulk settings. So wall generator, Arachne, wall loops 2, top shell thickness 2, infill 5, slow down curled perimeters. He only does 2 on some of these things. That's incredible. Verita says, let me check. I have the 3MF file. So, yeah, there's a guy on Facebook that he ends up doing a lot of big prints and some life-size prints as well. And some of his settings are pretty good. But he uses like 2 wall loops. But for something that big, I think you'd want to have 3 wall loops to do that. But he only does like 2. But then, let me show you this. So this is the guy, 3D printing, and those are some of his settings there. There's Arachne. Now that's not full size, but that's still a pretty reasonably big print there. and he does 2 wall loops. And I got to look and see. I think he does some bigger. I know he does some bigger stuff. Like he does like life size, like Star Wars, some robot stuff that's like incredible. I just haven't looked to see what his wall loops are on some of that bigger stuff. So that would be, yeah. And he's got a few printers. And that's the only thing it'd be like I'm kind of waiting on. Let's see. George says I am trying to remember the guy that does the Iron Man armor. Frankly Built. He does the Iron Man armor. So for his stuff, I think it's like for like the main armor and stuff like that, he does like 4 or 5 loops, walls. And then for like the helmets, I think he does like 3, something like that. Let me see if I can find the 3D Beginners and Pro. Yes, I know that. And GARY. Let me see if I can find out. I don't know. I can't find it right off the top of my head. 4 wall loops, infill 5%, adaptive cubic. Yeah, I would say you definitely have to do like 4 walls on that. Infill 5%, that's kind of cool. And then adaptive cubic. Nice, thank you. I'll definitely be taking a look at that. So yeah, very, very cool stuff that we got going on. So yeah, looking forward to doing some big stuff. I got some filament coming in from the was it Black Friday sale or whatever, so I've got some of that coming in. So looking at doing another big rifle and kind of do that. And then yeah, depending on in next month, I'll probably get that splitter program. So because that's, like I said, 100, 110 bucks, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. So George says, I'm looking at that for the Dread shoulder armor. Oh, okay, that would be cool. Yeah. Fertha said, I added a channel through the whole thing for a 1-inch wood dowel spine and connected all pieces with 2 1-inch dowels, each plaster cavities all throughout, only filled the legs though. Cool. Sending you the pictures of the statues tonight. Oh, that'd be cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's always cool to see what other people are doing. And why you haven't started a YouTube channel, I don't know. You need to get on it. So, as if you didn't have enough to do already. Yeah, I know how that goes. So, yeah, pretty wild. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to doing some bigger stuff. And one thing I can say with the Creality K2 Plus that has helped me immensely has been the Micro Swiss hot end for the K2 Plus. I'd have a number of nozzle clogs and problems, and since I switched out that hot end, I haven't had any clogs. So keep the fingers crossed, we'll see how that goes. And then they also have, for Micro Swiss, they still have the sale going on where you can save 30%. They have a discount code on their page, on the main page, and I think the hot end for the K2 Plus was like $84, $85, and then with the discount it brings it down to like, you know, what was it? Seriously, $64. No, that wasn't that one. Micro Swiss, here it is. So I got the Flow Tech, and I guess I could show you this. Do I got any weird information on there? No, I don't. So with the Micro Swiss, for the hot end for the K2 Plus was normally, that we end up seeing there, was $85 basically. You got a discount code, BFCM 2025, which knocked off 25 and basically is $60. So I went ahead and just recently ordered this, just ordered this today to get another one, just so I could have one on hand. And then also as a spare, but if I get another K2 Plus, which I might be doing, I don't know. I'm torn between getting another K2 Plus and then that everything's the same, and then I could just rock you know, two K2 pluses. But then the other side of me is looking at the Prusa Core 1L, not a big as build area as the K2 Plus, but it looks really good. And then you have the index that's going to come out for that a little bit later. So I'm very tempted to do that. I don't know if I would use the index system that much. I'm not sure. But the wow factor on induction index system from Bondtech is just, oh, that's like crack. That would just be, man. So anyway, yeah, interesting stuff. So yeah, if you got a K2 Plus, I definitely can attest to, I don't have an affiliate marketing link with them or anything like that. All I know is that I don't have any clogs like I did with the stock version, the K2 Plus and their nozzle. So yeah, it's been working out great. So we got that going on, fun stuff. Again, something to look at when we're talking about FDM printing, and if you're talking about doing some very large, you can cut it up with your own slicing program, which will be a little bit time intensive. And we have people like Ferrithus who have done that, and it's entirely doable. But then you also have Luban, which was the market leader in slicing up large files that you scaled up into smaller, manageable, printable parts. But the 1970s UI, user interface, and the price doesn't fill me with a lot of happiness and joy. So Splitter comes up, and the links are in the description box for both of those, comes up with one that is definitely less expensive and will split up the large scale model into, and it's not as expensive. Yeah, lifetime license too. So you can get the basic one for 60 euros, lifetime license, get the little add-on thing, the full meal deal, it's like 100 euros or 110 bucks or whatever it is. That's for a lifetime license as well. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I think I'm going to get the splitter one. So, but yeah, that's it. That's what we got. And then I think we'll see how it goes with whether I pick the Hulk or Ivor. I really like the Ivor, but I like the Hulk too. I think I like the Hulk more than Ivor. But the base of the Hulk is huge, and that would take up a lot of space, whereas the Ivor one doesn't take up as much space. So I'm kind of betwixt on that. And I don't know. We'll see. Either way, I'm going to print something big. So I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll see how that goes. But I need that program. Ferrith says he just sent the email. Cool. Let's check that out and see if we can find here. Dun, 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 dun. And spam? Is it spam? I don't think it's spam. No. Got some collaboration offer. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it just popped up. Let's take a look at this. Oh, wow. Can I share these pictures on here of what you did? Bro. Please say yes. Because that looks really, really good. Holy crow. Y'all, Ferrith, say yes. Let me share these pictures. I'm sure he will. I just want to double check. But it looks really good. It looks really good. So let me know. Type it in. Sure, go ahead. Yes. Okay, so here we go. Boom. Okay, that's a big, big picture. Let's make this a little bit more manageable. And we got to do this. It's cool that I can do this cropping stuff on the fly. Look at that, folks. Look at that. That is super impressive. Holy crow. Look at that. So we got that one there. Oh, wow, look at that. Let's do this one here. And boom. Look at that. Nice. Isn't that a great job? Holy crow, that is amazing. Replica finish with texture paint makes it look and feel more like sandstone. Hid the seams with plaster before painting, glued everything together with epoxy. Ah, I scanned it and made a replica. And here's another picture of it. Dude, that looks so good. Let's see if we can do some finagling with that. But look at that, folks. That is really good. That is really good. That is amazing. Wow. Dude, that is awesome work. That is awesome work. So yeah, scanned it. That one is the original stone statue in the yard. Oh, so the first one was the original statue. Ah, okay. So that was the original statue. Okay, and then you scanned it, and then you ended up doing, let's see, and then you ended up doing that there. Nice. That is excellent work, dude. Nice. That is awesome. Dude, that looks so good. I'm impressed. I'm severely impressed. Everybody else should be impressed as well. If you're not, PAX in. George says, that is impressive. I know, right? That is really, really good. I like that. You know, a decorative print, scanned it, did all that stuff. Yeah, nice. With the stone, sandstone type of look on there. That looks really good. Wow. Very cool. Very cool indeed, Mr. Ferretis. You are the man. You have won the internet for today. So, yeah. I don't know if my Hulk would look that good. I think it's a whole different level. You got something that's nice and aesthetically pleasing, and then you, of course, then you have the Hulk smash. So it's kind of two different ends of the spectrum. But yeah, that looks really good. Ferretis says, yeah, it came out really nice. Very happy with how it turned out. Barely needed supports as well. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like that was a really good job. Wow. And then you said you put a recessed hole in there for a 2-inch dowel, for a dowel to hold all that. So that's pretty cool as well. So you just did like a negative part in there for the dowel, just measured that out and boom, threw that in there and you're good to go. Nice. That is awesome. Indeed, that is awesome. Very good, very good. Let's see. The Hulk is going to be way more advanced because you have so many more cuts that are not all horizontal. I know, yeah. Yep, it's going to be, the Hulk is going to be wild. And the thing, honestly, people, the thing that is holding me back with the Hulk is the logistics of it. Yeah. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if we take a look, and this is how I got started onto the Hulk. So this is the file, and I printed this out in resin, and I painted this guy up with, you know, airbrush, all of that. I mean, he just came out, you know, he came out really, really good. So I love this. But if I do this and it's 5 or 6 feet tall, the logistics of this and painting this, putting it together isn't going to be a problem. Sanding, it'll be a pain in the butt a little bit, you know, because you got to do the seams and make everything look good. But then trying to paint this is going to be a little bit crazy. This right here And you get a sense of scale. I mean, this I painted in my paint booth, which is no problem. This, I can't, well, I might be able to paint this, but I'd have to do it sideways to paint this. Imagine the Hulk being 5 feet tall or 6 feet tall. I have to make, and matter of fact, I've got plastic and I'm looking at making a paint booth in a spare room that I have, but good Lord. And then you're talking about paint. These are little hobby paints that I use to paint this dude. This, I'm probably going to use the Arteco paints. Again, acrylic paints on this, but if I make this guy 6 feet tall, 5 or 6 feet tall, I'm going to have to get some paint that I can, there's no way I'm going to use model paints. So the logistics of it are just going to be huge. It's going to be a huge endeavor. So, oops. Here, I'm knocking all kinds of stuff off. So it's not that the printing out, it's not that the printing out is going to be problematic. It'll just take a long time. The machine's going to do that. But the painting and everything. Anyway, Ferrith says, all right, the bed calls. Good seeing you. Have a good Sunday. Yeah, you too. Then Ferrith comes back and says, each leg would probably be 3 pieces, each arm 2 to 3 pieces, so on and so forth. Head would be 1 piece. Yeah. So, and putting it all together, it's not that big of a deal. But once you get it put together and seamed and all that stuff and then painting it, that would be a huge thing. So, yeah, the logistics of painting and finishing that thing up would be quite the interesting task. Ferrith says about 18 pieces, each one about 1 to 2 days of print time. Much fun. Oh yes, much fun. So we'll see how it goes. But, you know, we'll just have to jump into it, I guess. Just jump and go, you know. What the hell? It's just a hobby, right? Okay, with that being said, yeah, I think if we're just comparing apples to apples, if we're looking at Luban as far as the summary for cutting up large STL scaled prints, it does a great job. Again, the subscription service, $25 a month, $125 a year, or a lifetime license of $625. That hurts the pocketbook a little bit, but there's a lot of other things you can do with Luban. So there's that. But with the splitter, that new program that is coming out, we're talking about 100 euros, which is about 100 or 95 euros, which is about $110, and get a lifetime license. And that's for the basic and the add-ons. If you just wanted to get the basic splitter, it's only 60 euros, so basically half. That is doable. And if you can get in now, my thinking is if I can get in at this lifetime license, which is actually affordable, and that could grandfather me into all the other stuff that they're going to do in the future, hopefully. So that's kind of my thinking. And it's easier to throw away $100 than it is $625, you know. But again, I'm just a hobbyist. I'm not like selling anything. This is just for my own enjoyment and keeping me out of trouble. So yeah, but I don't want to spend $625 for a program that I'll use 2, 3, or 4 times, which I could just do the subscription, but I hate subscriptions. I'd rather just buy the program and be done with it, because you never know. You might, I don't know, maybe I will sell some stuff. We'll see. So anyway, the links are in the description box for Luban and for the splitter, which recently just had its Kickstarter, which is kind of a cool thing. Excuse me. The official, the beta release is out now, but in next month, the full release will be out for Splitter, which will be pretty good, and then just rock and roll and, you know, print big until the cows come home, I guess. So some different things, different prices, different capabilities. One has been out on the market for quite a long time, is well-proven performer. Splitter, just new to the arena, so are they going to take it over from Luban? I don't know. And are they, another question I have, is Splitter going to do more stuff like Luban has? And we don't know. So I might send them an email and find out and see what the deal is and see what their future plans are, or if it's just going to be a big STL splitting, cutting program thing. Inquiring minds want to know. So with that, we'll just go ahead and call this the end. And if you want to contact me, there is my email address. I answer everybody. You know, you saw it with Ferrithus, the stuff he puts out. Awesome stuff. That is incredible. Big work you did there, bro. If you just want to say hi, or if you're interested in, you know, some information on how we retired in Korea, or just want to say hi or whatever, email's there. If you want to buy me coffee, these cool people bought me coffee. The link is in the description box. But the very best thing that you could do for me, just like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. That would be the absolute best thing that you could do for me, and I would really appreciate that. So it is what it is. So we're going to go ahead and leave this and let everybody have a good evening. I'm going to take off, and it's about 2 o'clock. So I'm going to be doing some more surfing and cutting and kind of planning out whether I'm going to do the Viking or if I'm going to do the Hulk. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But for you to find out, you got to subscribe to the channel. And that's, you know, like the video and subscribe. All right, we're done. I'm rambling. All right, peace.